Welcome back to the Money Show, and it's time to get all your portfolio related queries answered by the experts, because we understand that it's in hard earned money and you just want the expert advice to assess which is the right fund for your portfolio, what are the criteria that one should look at and navigate through the maze. We have on board Shweta Jain of Investography, and also do not forget to send us your portfolio queries on a WhatsApp number, that is 8657974571, or you can also email us your queries on themoneyshow@etnow.tv. So let's get started, and before that, let me welcome Shweta onto the show. Thank you so much for joining us today on ET Now and taking the time out, Shweta. Let's get started with the first query then, and we also have the live caller with us from Mumbai. We have Deepak on phone line. Hi, very good evening, Deepak. Tell us what query you have for Shweta.
For last 9 years, and since last 1.5 to 2 years, the fund is not doing well. I understand it is because of the growth style of investing of Axis AMC. So just wanted your views whether I have a horizon of at least 10-20 years. So considering this, the short-term underperformance, whether I should continue with this fund or I should stop, considering that I have a long time horizon. If there is anything wrong with the AMC or the fund manager or anything, that if you can get me that info, that will be useful.
Okay, Deepak, you mean that you have already invested in Axis long-term fund? For how many years you have invested in this, and what sort of returns are already there?
I have been investing through SIP since last 9 years.
Okay.
And even though it is a worst performing fund as on today, return is more than 12%. So that is not an issue, but the recent last 2 years has not been good.
Okay.
So, I need the view from the long-term perspective, not for next 1 or 2 years.
Okay. Shweta, you heard his question. He's been a long-term investor out there, but going ahead, because the last 2 years returns weren't that lucrative. So do you believe that he should stick in this particular fund, or rather make a switch to something other?
Hi, Srishti. Thank you for having me. Deepak ji's question is very valid. In fact, Axis was in the midst of some turmoil a year and a half ago, and they did have investigations. They did have SEBI pull them up. Also, people were let go. So a lot of chaos happened with Axis Mutual Fund, but it has sort of taken on, and we have a change in their MD and CEO last month. 2 months ago. So where Mr. Chandresh Nigam was the CEO, there is now Mr. Gopkumar, who has a fantastic experience with him. With Axis Financial Services, the previous for a couple of years, Axis also has a new CIO. So that sort of strengthens the team. For this particular scheme, Axis Long-Term Fund, Jinesh Gopani has been the fund manager for a very long time. He still is their head of equities and still is the fund manager on this. So there's really no big worries, according to me, on the Axis Mutual Fund stability side or for this scheme. But I have to say, Axis Long-Term Equity Fund is a fund where there is a 3-year lock-in. So if his time horizon is long-term and he can continue to stay invested, every scheme has these bouts of underperformance. So this was maybe Axis's time, and we will hopefully see it bounce back sooner rather than later.
Okay, so that's the advice coming in for you, Deepak. Any other thing that you wish to ask to Shweta?
Thank you.
Okay, that's it for Deepak. So that's the advice. But moving on in Shweta, we have the next email query from R.K. Ahuja, where he says that he already have a portfolio consisting of long-term large cap and short-term funds. The mid-cap stock in the portfolio, numbering 40 stocks in the portfolio, worth rupees 35 lakhs, and he intends to reduce it in the next 3 months. So there's no particular question, but what I'm sensing is that what he's having is a number of stocks from the mid and the large cap space, and because he's been investing for long, he must have been sitting on a good gains right now. So what sort of an allocation between the large and the mid-cap space do you believe one should have in one's portfolio? And that's the question that I'm coming up from his query, because he's just written what he currently has.
Right, Srishti. So, Mr. Ahuja's question on how much should be in large cap and how much in mid cap is actually a very personal question, because how much volatility can one take? How much time can one give to their stock portfolios? So, this is really something that's quite personal. What I'm also sensing from his question is that a lot of the large cap stocks are long term and the mid cap stocks are short term. So they may not have been invested for a very long time. So he has to see where his sort of priorities lie and for how long he intends to stay invested further. 40 stocks for a 35 lakh portfolio. Yes, I think he should cut that down to maybe about 30 or 25 to 30, not too little and not too less. I think, but the main aspect that I would like to see him do is a good diversification of stocks, of sectors, good allocation. Because if he does have a great stock, but he only has, say, 0.5 percentage of his portfolio invested, that's not really going to get him much gains. So I would want him to review, keeping a couple of these factors in light, and then do. Also, he has to look forward and see what kind of economy, what kind of sectors are we going to do, because if these are stocks that he's investing in, he doesn't have a fund manager to guide him really, so he'll have to take some of these calls himself. So I'll have to request him to be a little forward looking.
Okay, Shweta, quickly, the third query that we have is coming from Manoj. He's already 56 years old and he's been investing 23,000 rupees per month in 4 schemes. Firstly is DSP Quant, Parag Parikh Flexi Cap, PGIM India Mid Cap Opportunities, and UTI Nifty Next 50 Index Fund. His retirement is nearby in 2029, so he just wants you to review his portfolio and make suggestions on the same.
Okay, so good funds. I have to commend him on his fund choosing ability and keeping it limited to 4 schemes. And he said he already has a portfolio of about 20 lakhs. So I think that's a good start too. So I would like to see him accumulate a good amount as well. So I would like to see how much of this savings of 23,000 can he get to in the next couple of years as well. If he continues to invest this particular amount, he'll get to about 75 to 80 lakhs in the next few years. But what I want to tell him is that even at retirement, he doesn't have to withdraw the entire money from equity. He can then allocate according to his cash flow requirements. So that's something that he should look at. But the current schemes are looking good.
Okay, current scheme looks good. That's the advice for Manoj. With this, we'll let you go on that. Thank you so much, Shweta, for joining us. We wanted to take more queries, but for today, we are a bit short on time, and sorry to keep you waiting. And with this, viewers, it's time to wrap this edition of The Money Show. It's a goodbye from me and the entire team who put this show together. Thank you so much for watching.